Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSperts. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and joining me, as always, Mr. Molitor. How are things? Look at
Good.
you,
We've got
pretty smile.
there's a basketball game that's damn near to halftime right now. Just wild. Well, not only that, but it's like it's the Big Sky Conference. That's in the mountains. So that game started at like 9 a.m. local time. Just gambler's delight when these games start early. The same thing tomorrow. We have Ball State Toledo. We have
Should we be betting first half unders here?
I'm speaking. I don't know if that one's going to go under, man. I'm speaking in Central Time, but there's like 6 games that start before lunch tomorrow. Friday, there are 5 games that start before lunch. So even if you're on the East Coast, these are still terribly early games. So a lot of fun. I love that. That's one of my favorite things about this time of year is the early games. And then miss golf. It's funny, like how we're mad at
kind of jinxed ourselves. I was worried yesterday. We talked about it too much.
We brought, but you know what? She has nothing to apologize for. She made plenty of money. Your underdog won. I
That's
don't
right, the parlay cashed, so we ended up being
okay. Yeah, the parlay cashed. Oh man, my basketball play was not even close. Like that was Long Beach State couldn't miss, and then it just went downhill from there. Like when a team comes out of the gates like that and just scores and scores, I'm like, well, I'm gonna go cook. I made some stuffed mushrooms, I grilled some asparagus and chicken, and I just ignored the second half of that game. And then I paid attention to the Zags. That was a lot of fun. And yes, nasty schedule of tons of tournaments today. And you know what? The NBA's back too. I think we'll start with that. We talked a little bit before the break, and you had mentioned something. You'd said, let's take it easy in this last day. We don't know what we're going to get. You're getting a lot of players sitting. Sometimes these totals can be a little funny. And then I think you won. You're one over, you bet, that one day. Yep. You said, I'm taking this over. It cashed easily. It's been a while since we had NBA, man. It feels like a week. Probably most close to a damn week. Yeah. So anyway, you talk about that, and you'd brought up some stuff about, how these teams perform out of the break. So, do you have anything you're doing specifically when you're handicapping the teams coming off the All-Star break? It's a different kind of All-Star break, but at the same time, it wasn't. It was a similar time frame.
Yeah, the first thing I'll start to do is look for teams that had players playing in the All-Star break, and I'll try to avoid those teams, frankly. Some of those players you'll see try to take rest days and stuff. Now, the NBA has done us a nice favor. We have 2 games tonight, so it's a slow start. We have Washington, Memphis, San Antonio, and Dallas. And, as I look down the 4 teams, and off the top of my head, sorry, I don't have my list in front of me, I think there was only 1 All-Star in that entire group of teams. I can't remember. Bradley Beal made it. So sorry, 2 All-Stars and then entire group of teams. But as you start to look, Beals should be healthy and playing. Memphis, again, is clean. San Antonio should be clean. Dallas, they had Luka Doncic who played, but I actually think that's a positive because he had struggled with a little bit of an injury going into the break. So the fact that he played the All-Star game and remains probable here actually makes me feel better. But be careful. Really start to look at teams that have a lot of All-Stars. And if you see those All-Stars as questionable, wait or attack the other side. I generally like to wait because if those guys do play, you don't want to be caught having kind of that, what you thought was a good number, if you will, all of a sudden get blown up by some injury stuff. But start to look for things like that. I've taken a look back historically. There doesn't seem to be too much in terms of looking at overs, unders, things like that. Some teams do come back hot. Some teams do come back slow. It was hard for me to see any kind of overwhelming patterns. I think if you're a first quarter, first half better overall, try to lean towards unders rather than overs. But from a full game market perspective, I think things should be pretty clean outside of what I talked about in terms of resting guys who had to play the All-Star game.
Yeah, I feel you. And yeah, there were a bunch of guys that did play that'll play, I think, starting tomorrow. So it'd be interesting to see if there's any. I don't know if you've ever looked back at that, some of these guys where it's not like I'm sitting, but maybe they had some minutes limitations. You saw after the fact, like, oh man, he played like 24 minutes. What the hell's going on? A guy who takes a big part in the offense, or the game in general that has like a weird split for minutes. So something to watch for. But you made a play today, even though we're just straight up back. You weren't scared.
No, you got to attack. I mean, there's numbers, Andy. And I looked, and it's even better. It's an over. I know you love overs, so I was looking for something. I like the number. You love overs. Dallas, San Antonio over 222. Again, not concerned about Luka, given that he was a little injured, did play the game. I expect him to come out and be healthy here. Maybe there will be some sort of a minutes restriction kind of thing, but again, not too concerned. As I look at this, I have this number up at around 227, almost 228, and a little higher if I tweak a few things, looking towards maybe a shorter frame in the last 10 to 15 games. Kristaps Porzingis looks to be healthy and playing, which is great for the offensive efficiency for Dallas. It also hurts the defensive efficiency a little bit, which would be good for San Antonio. Really like the matchup again in terms of what San Antonio is going to be able to do and what Dallas is going to try to do. I think we should see a fairly quick game. So happy to grab the over here. I grabbed 222. It's on the move. I would play this up to probably 224, not any higher than that.
Gotcha. And yeah, people are excited for it. And look at this. Money Mike says, I love tennis overs more than my wife. LOL. Yeah. I like nothing better than having the over and just seeing like players give up on return, like, whatever. I'm gonna let them have this, because that's a thing. You will see people take sets off or take games off on return and just not play all that well on return and pretty much concede the point. So love that. I'm back in it. I did play a little bit on this morning's game, and I did post it on Twitter too, just because it was such an early game. I wanted to alert anybody who wanted some early action. I played a little bit on Sacramento State, plus the 3. Early steam came in on Northern Colorado. They're a fun team. I like their team. They're like an analytically driven team, which is not something you hear about a lot in college basketball, especially in a tiny conference like the Big Sky. But they do some analytical things, and I'm excited to watch this team grow over the next couple of years. But Sacramento State, I made them a short favorite. It opened, they were a 1.5 point dog. It got bet out to 3. My hand was kind of forced. I played a little bit on them this morning. I think they probably have a decent shot at winning if they can hold on here in the second half. And then one for the night. If you don't have the PTSD from the last time we played Army, jumping back on.
All we could be again.
This was rough. Well, the last time I bet Army was like maybe a 3-point favorite, and they were up 25 at halftime, ended up losing the game or winning by 1, or it was rough. Like it was one of those where you've seen it. You're like watching a car wreck in slow motion. It was super bad. But you know what? That exact same day that I bet Army, I covered with Navy, and Navy played Loyola, Maryland. Loyola, Maryland, obviously they're all in the same damn conference. They will be Army's opponent today in the Patriot League tournament semifinal. So this is on a neutral. I did adjust numbers, almost everything today. I don't even know if we're having any home court games anymore for the rest of the season, because a lot of these tournaments that did have, some teams hosting early rounds, they kind of nixed a lot of the travel and said everything's going to be at a neutral because it's just easier for the testing and the COVID restrictions. So there's a decent chance you can probably just adjust whatever you're using to say every game's on a fucking neutral from now on. The exception being the UNLV will play at home because the tournament, they're hosting it at the Thomas Mack Center there in Vegas, but not like they're very good or they have a chance to win that tournament either way. Back to Army. Loyola just can't shoot. Army's a team that kind of lets you shoot. Like they'll clog up the middle or whatnot, let you shoot some deep balls. Loyola's just not a good shooting team. Army wants to beat them in transition, kind of crush them on the transition ball, and we saw that in a few other games. Hopefully they can get it done today. And I have them -2. It was -1.5 this morning. I got a little bit at that, but for the most part, it moved to 2.5 at some places. I'm fine with this up to 2.5, 3. I think they win handily, but I'm still also scarred inside from what they did to me last time. And then just a quick note here. Somebody did bring up Morikawa win the Players. Honestly, it's a good track for him. he probably does play
It
pretty
is.
well here. And I don't have everything put together for golf. I did, if anybody's been following my tournament previews, I've been blogging that up at the BetSperts now that the content is up, and I will have some, instead of just, a lot of my golf stuff I've just been putting on like the timeline on the app and then posting some stuff on Twitter as well. I'm just going to make a straight up golf blog. Here's all my plays for the week and a little bit of reasoning and, what you can look for and some fun stuff. So I will have a golf blog out this afternoon, but I do need to finish up the Mountain West and SWAC previews first. So look for that later today. And yeah, Fuji, I like that. Morikawa is one of the good ones. Somebody asked, same thing. I'll have some stuff out later on that, and I'll have some other people you can probably tag along with. If you like to bet some golf, it should be a great weekend. It is kind of the fifth major.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And again, make sure you follow us both on the BetSperts app, Andy at Andy, myself, Alex Christensen with no space. And the content section's been really fun. You're starting to see a lot more stuff come up there, and it's an opportunity not only to access stuff, but if you want to take an attempt to try and write and put some stuff together yourself, there's all the functionality you need to kind of have your own blog, and you can share it, and people will give you feedback, positive or negative, mostly negative sometimes. But it's a lot of fun. So it'll be good to see Andy doing there. I'll be posting some stuff as well. So make sure you guys check that out, because that's finally on the app now. I know it's been on the website version for at least a week or so.
Yeah, iOS was up yesterday, Android today. So if you do have the app, update it. Like, that's good. I've had a few people be like, it looks goofy. Yeah, you need to update it to get the full update so you can look at everything and it looks normal. So do update that. And obviously, with any new updates, we're doing feedback. If you have anything you like, dislike, changes, anything, anything you see that you think should be different, or any suggestions, do feel free to email or DM us. So what does that leave us with? We're through basketball. I'm going to get to golf later. Oh, baby.
Big ball, the tiny ball,
fuzzy ball.
As Mike mentioned, it was a good run with Miss Goff and her overs. Unfortunately, she did. She took care of business, 6-4, 6-2. Martin Kova didn't put up much of a fight there in the second set. Don't feel too bad, Sam. I know that, you feel like you ruined it for us. It's fine. I assure you it's not your fault, because we're going to have an opportunity to do it again. The silver lining here, Andy, is she won. So we have another Coco Golf match. It will be tomorrow morning. Unfortunately, I don't have a line for it right now. She is going to play the winner of Olm Strabor and Jill Teichman, which is underway if it hasn't just started. So probably have a total on that, if I had to guess, in about 4 hours if we're lucky, probably closer to 5 or 6. I'll be sure to post on BetSperts what we're doing there. But if you missed that and you happen to be clicking around and you see a number, again, 21 or lower, take the over. Any 2.5 set price plus 140 or better there is going to be a play. So keep those in mind. I'll tweet those out. But we do have some actual plays, Andy, for matches that we know are happening. And we'll start in Guadalajara. Mexico was pretty kind to us yesterday, and we'll go back to another underdog. We won yesterday, and we'll be going back again today on Leonie Kung. She's up to plus 180 here, which is very confusing to me. Sarah Sorribes-Tormo is someone that is generally much more comfortable on clay. She had a nice run on hard courts kind of at the beginning of the season, end of last year. But as you start to pick apart those matches and dissect things a little bit, she was playing either players that were kind of below her from a talent perspective, or players that, weren't necessarily in the best form, or kind of had their eyes looking forward to maybe a bigger event. So I don't rate her success last year so much so that it overwhelms kind of the years and years of her being very poor on hard courts. Kung, again, a young player, has a great game. I think we're going to continue to see her kind of slowly climb up the rankings and do well in tournaments like these smaller WTA events. I have this much closer to plus 150, and I could even make it shorter than that, frankly, if I start to tweak some stuff. So love plus 180 here. Would play this down to probably plus 165, even plus 160. And I like the money line. I'm going to stay away from a spread here, a set spread, even something like that. Although, I don't think very highly of Tormo. Her matches tend to be very short. She either wins quickly or loses quickly. So I'll stick with the money line here, as opposed to trying to take plus 3.5, plus 4 games and, risk the chance of her just losing the match outright, 6-4, 6-3.
Yeah, I get that. Same thing with some of the other sports where you think it might be a feast or famine, where they have a wide distribution. They either win win easily or lose handily. And in the case of losing handily on a set spread, you're paying juice. So might as well not pay the juice. Just take the plus 180. I like it.
Yeah, you got to try to think about match dates. Sometimes take kind of a step back from a macro perspective. When you're looking to take an underdog handicap, you want somebody with a strong serve. You want somebody that you feel good about, probably winning at least a set or getting us to a 7-5, 7-6 somewhere. And that's not kind of how I see this match going. So again, we'll stick with the money line there as opposed to the spread. We've got another underdog in Guadalajara, Renata Zarazua. Again, the
I don't know who this
player
is.
who loves these courts, a young Mexican woman, again, someone who does well in some of these smaller events and does well in Acapulco. I'm not sure if she's played this event before. This event's fairly new, but she's playing Anna Karolina Shmedlova. Was able to get her a plus 105. That number starting to move a little bit. I actually even missed it. There were some even better numbers than that. If you were able to get on, say, some strange Russian websites that open, there was like a plus 160 or plus 170 out there, but plus 105 is the first number I was able to grab. I'm still seeing some even number money here. Anything with a plus in front of it's good. If it's minus 110, minus 105, maybe a half unit play there, but I think she's the better player here. I have her favored in this match right around minus 125, minus 130. So some value on the dog here for me.
When is this one? Those are Mexico, so that's like this afternoon?
Yep. Yeah, so let's see. Leonie Kung is 4 p.m. Eastern. Zarazua is 8 p.m. Eastern. And I didn't forget about you, Andy. Although we don't have a golf number yet, we do have another overstack here.
Jeannie
Bouchard Yuvon. Jeannie Bouchard, taking a break from her Instagram modeling to play a little bit of tennis here. Is a very tough player from a mental perspective. As you watch her matches, she doesn't really lose a lot of matches in 2 sets. She's very competitive here. Yvonne is the better player. I expect her to win this match, but I think there's a great chance we see a tiebreaker, a 7-5 here. Happy to grab the over 21 at minus 110. I would make this 21.5, probably minus 115 if I was hanging a line myself. And then the over 2.5 sets, again, I think there's a great chance that Jeannie can sneak one in here, whether it be the first or the second. And I have this closer to plus 140 myself. So a little value on plus 160, a full unit on the 21, half a unit on the over 2.5 sets.
Gotcha. And
one more.
That's one more? Oh, you did have one more.
More.
I missed it.
Those are all
right. Give me one more. Give me one. Give me an overnight one.
This is while you're sleeping for the most part. I believe this actually, this might be on when you wake up tomorrow morning. Let me see. Okay, 5 a.m. Eastern. So, if you're an early riser or you're staying up late on the West Coast, you might see this. Barbara Krejcikova, and I will save Andy from having to try to pronounce that, is playing Anastasia Potapova. Krejcikova is a very well-known doubles player in the tennis world and has started to really carve out some nice singles wins. Her numbers are very much on the rise here. Potapova is someone who has a very high potential, but is very inconsistent here. So I like Krejcikova. I have her closer to minus 140, minus 145 here. I would play minus 125, minus 130s are starting to pop up, maybe a smaller player at that number, but have her as more of a solid favorite here. Again, the consistency, and I think she has a chance to reach the same level Potapova does, and frankly, even higher. Krejcikova is someone I'm going to continue to attack here, I think, for the next few weeks. And as the market, I think it's slow to react to some of her single success.
Gotcha. And it's funny that you mentioned like first half unders in these early games. And there are some big neutral gyms. Like the Big Ten plays in Lucas Oil Stadium. Another team plays in like a football stadium. There are some massive gyms, and some of those first half under looks do come through. These teams out in Boise, where the hell are they? They're in some random gym out west. I feel like it might be Boise is hosting this. They went a combined 11 of 14 from 3 to shoot just under 80% from deep in the first half, and there were pert near 90 points. So I'm guessing that first half went over in this one. So I don't know, maybe a second half under look in there if you're feeling like getting real degenerate, because these teams aren't 80. Well, nobody's an 80%, 3-point shooting team. I think Baylor's the best in the nation, just over 40. So maybe if you're looking for some regression, the second half under, although it looks to be a tight game. So I could be dead right, and overtime. You could have double overtime. Although there was a MAAC game that went to overtime last night and still cleared the under by about 15 points. So sometimes overtime doesn't matter.
The angle on the first half unders, again, to remind everybody, those early games in the NBA, this is a great angle. If you're betting an NBA game that starts at noon or 1 p.m. or 2 p.m., just bet the first half under. Yes, it started to be built into the number, but more times than not, it's a really great look. And I know college kids, it's a little different rhythm for them. But I imagine, again, like you said, playing at a big gym, playing at 9, 10 a.m. in the morning, I mean, you got to have a slow start there, I would think.
Yeah, for the most part, this is probably more of a one-off. Like I mentioned previously, I don't do previews for the Big Six conferences because there are 1,000 of those all over the internet. You can certainly find someone to talk about the ACC. I don't bet it for the most part through most of the year. I don't really pay attention outside of just watching some of the good games that are on at night when I'm at home. But I do usually just run my numbers and make plays. Like I'll just pick whoever my numbers say are the best team in each one of those leagues after I kind of compare where the fields are. So I did play some just pizza money outrights on a few of these. Some of them were short prices, so I had to put a couple pizzas on it. But Kansas in the Big 12 I played. I liked them a lot closer to Baylor than the numbers imply. I played some Colorado out east, out west. I think they're actually out west. So Pac-12, Colorado. I didn't really have an inkling of what to make of the ACC numbers. So my guy Tim C of first touchdown fame. He's been hit me a couple first touchdown scores. He put me on UNC in the ACC. In the Big Ten, I think Illinois' number is a little shitty compared. I think they're a better team. I think they should be favored. So I took some Illy, and my numbers agree. Well, Big East was just St. John's. It's every year at St. John's. I don't care what the price is. Took them at 50-1 last year. Doesn't matter. St. John's, 9-10-1, something like that. They're my favorite team of all time, and the numbers always love how they play for some reason. And then what does that leave us? The SEC? Oh, Arkansas. Not only that, I took a flyer on Arkansas to make the Final Four. I found like 7.75, like 750. So little Arkansas to make the Final Four. That's my favorite team right now, Arkansas. So just a little pizza money bets on. I took Kansas and Arkansas. Maybe it's something subliminal. So nothing major there, but I do, like to have a dog in those fights, and it's fun when they hit. Obviously didn't hit any last year because every single one of those conferences seem to get, those are ones that start a little later, or they take a little longer because they're bigger conferences. None of those finished, I'm sure. I think the biggest conference to finish was probably the Mountain West. I do remember that was a fun one with Utah State and San Diego State in the final. Otherwise, look for some more basketball and golf content from me later on the BetSperts app.
Did see a question, Andy. Ben the betters on Memphis now. Don't just fade Ben, but I would say I lean Washington in this game. The spread's 3. If there's a 3.5 out there, I think you probably grab that 3.5 because I make this closer to like 1.5 too. So little value for me on Washington if that means anything.
Yeah, pay more attention to how the market moves than what Ben does. Although,
I can't wait to see what Tortellini picks today. It's gonna be exciting.
I probably will be just backing. I'll just blindly tail that turtle. It's not a turtle, it's a tortoise. Turtles are more in the water. Tortoises are land-based. So little fun fact to end it there, and we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for hanging with us. And we'll catch you some more action on Thursday. Until then, don't forget to sign up for WinBet if you're in one of the states where it's available. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, retweet, like, give me a thumbs up on YouTube. And as always, appreciate everybody. See you then.